you were frightened by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then you were terrorized by Halloween. And now, prepare to be pulverized, traumatized, and hospitalized by Splatter U. More horrifying than you could possibly imagine.
Manny Velazquez here with Scream Queen.
Forbes Riley. Hey, guys, I'm the original star of Splatter University. And actually, we're sitting here on the set of a new infomercial that I'm filming. And Manny was nice enough to go, "You star in Splatter University?" I'm like, yeah. Just more years ago than you are old, believe it or not. All right, so why horror films? What do you love about them?
Well, since I was a kid, I always watched horror films. And to me, horror movies kind of show like an alternate universe on life.
Right.
Like our deepest fears.
That's very true.
And my favorite out of all of it is slashers. That's why when you said that it was like Splatter University, that's like one of the slasher movies of the 80s.
Which is so funny because we made it, I was 22 years old. It was my very first audition and the very first lead in a feature film. And yes, I do play Professor Julie Parker, who when I look at it, I just had a chance to remaster the DVD and to watch it. And I will tell you, it's a very funny thing to look at yourself 30 years ago and remember the decisions you made. Like, for example, when I'm in my own apartment, I should have never worn that yellow shirt. I know, because here's one of the things on the set, was that we needed 3 shirts of the same kind because that's what I get killed in. Oh, did I tell you that? Which, by the way, I just made an IMDb list. There's very few films in which the heroine, the star of the movie, gets killed, and this is one of them. You know, kind of like Hitchcock. Yeah, it was a very dramatic shift. And so that we couldn't afford a whole lot. So we bought this very cheap yellow shirt. I didn't know that I would be seen in it for decade after decade after decade.
You're not superstitious, are you?
Superstitious? No, of course not.
Well, apparently several of the other applicants for the position were. They pulled out of the job at the last minute.
Really? Why?
Well, there's a silly rumor going around, probably started by the students, that the classroom you'll be using is jinxed.
Jinxed?
It was kind of like a teenage slasher kind of goofy comedy. That wasn't in the original script. He had to add those scenes to make it long enough for feature film distribution. But the film that I made was mostly all about Julie Parker. It was about this young professor who is silly enough to take the place of a teacher who's been killed and not smart enough to go, hey, at some point I should leave the town, leave the building, get in that car, that was my own car, by the way, and drive away. But she wasn't quite that, you know, she wanted to solve the mystery. She thought she could handle it on her own. So one of the lessons there is don't do that.
What I'd like to do today is to go over the term projects for those of you who might be having trouble with it. So if you just take out your topics, we can talk about how you're going to approach them.
You didn't say they were due today.
Well, I'm sure I mentioned it several times last week.
You said they were due the end of the month.
Does anyone have their topics prepared?
Oh yeah, I kind of managed the script. I also invented continuity. You know that? No. Okay, true story. In the movie, you'll see that we filmed in 3 different hallways. There's a hallway where my classroom is, there's a connecting hallway, and the hallway where the bathroom and where I find a couple of dead bodies. So, but here's the thing, I didn't know this, I'd only done theater up until that point. So you light one hallway, right? And you have to shoot every scene in the movie that's in that hallway. So we didn't have a continuity script person. So I remember thinking, wait a second, I should take a picture of myself in this wardrobe with the earrings, because I'm never going to remember next week when we do the next hallway how I look.
So you Polaroid yourself?
So I created continuity. Thank you very much. Yeah, we did. And by the way, it was Polaroids back then, and it was interesting to be the production manager because I knew everything that was going on. I lived on the set, and it was a genius experience. What a great way to.
So this was your first film? Right?
First film ever.
So like it's close to you, right?
Well, here's the funny thing too. Thank goodness for the internet. Now, when I was little, there was no internet. And this was my first film. I didn't want to tell anybody about the movie. No, because it was a slasher movie. I was like Julia Roberts and Meryl Streep. I was a seriously well-trained actress. I ended up doing Broadway with Christopher Reeve. Okay, I really wanted a career and doing a silly little splasher movie. But the funny thing is, as time went on, Splatter University has its own page, has a fan club. I've been to a couple of events, and people, they like celebrate Julie's birthday. So I had no idea when I did this that it would have anything that anyone would ever see. I have never seen the commentary section.
Oh, really?
I would love to hear it. Yeah. Richard called me 30 years to the date that we released the movie and said, hey, we're doing a Blu-ray version. Would you come in? I hadn't seen him in 30 years. Now, can you imagine, and this is one of the greatest moments of my life, and I'm going to start to cry, was I am watching a 22-year-old me 30 years later. And I'm looking at me going, she has no idea that she's going to have a set of twins, that she's going to get married, that she's going to fall in love, she's going to have her heart broken, she's going to help create the X Games, she's going to have an amazing career that girl at that moment has no idea about. And I was trying to remember all the things that were going on in my head. I remember that was the first car that I had, that red car, that was my car. I remember thinking that my jeans, and I wish I'd not tucked my shirt in because my butt looked a little too big. I was very self-conscious about my weight back then, and I grew up as a very ugly little girl, so I had a lot of phobias. And it's weird watching everything that you see in the movie. It just brought back unbelievable memories. But mostly the fact that somebody trusted me to star in their film. And then a little bit of sadness that I didn't end up getting to be as famous as Julie Roberts or Sandra Bullock. That was my goal. But life takes it, different kind of turns, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. And because I have the two most amazing kids on the planet, I'm very much in love. I wouldn't change a thing.
Splatter you.